Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Gnosis Builders workshop, Building on Gnosis Chain, the what, why, and where. Joining us today is Olu, who will be taking us through this session. And with that, I'll pass it over to Olu to get the session started.
Hi, guys. Welcome to the session. I'll be taking us through this brief session on building on Gnosis Chain, what you need to know about Gnosis Chain, where you need to get information, and how you could go about it. Questions you could be typed into the chat, and I'll get to them. Thank you. So this is what the talk is all about, the what, the why, and where of building on Gnosis Chain. We're going to talk about what is Gnosis Chain, why you should consider Gnosis Chain, how to build on Gnosis Chain, and we're going to talk briefly about Gnosis Builders. So what is Gnosis Chain? Gnosis Chain is an L1 POS-based EVM compatible chain. Basically, what all this means is that it is compatible with Ethereum, and you could build on it same as you could build on Ethereum. It operates with a dual token system. We have one token for gas and the other for staking. The XDAI is used for gas and the GNO for staking. The XDAI itself is pegged one-to-one with the US dollar, and is derived from the DAI on Ethereum. What this means is that transactions are very, very cheap on Gnosis Chain. With $100, you could do as many as 100K transactions or even more, depending on the type of transactions you're doing. So, and the reason for having this dual token system is also so that staking can also be done very easily, as we'll see later on. Gnosis Chain itself is, is community powered and developers focused, and anyone in the world can become a validator on the chain, and it is pretty very easy to do. So what's the mission of Gnosis Chain? Gnosis Chain aims to be the most decentralized blockchain. We have already tools that we use to measure decentralization, as you see later on, and why Gnosis Chain is most suitable in making this contribution, because currently there are over 115K validators on the Gnosis Chain, and it's growing. And the entry to become a validator is just one GNO. Like I said earlier, this is the reason why we have this two token system. The GNO is used for validators, and you need just one of it to become a validator. You could contrast that with Ethereum that requires 32 ETH to run a validator. Now, I said earlier that the chain is compatible with the EVM. So how do we achieve this one GNO to 32 ETH disparity? What happens is your one GNO is converted to something called MGNO, and one GNO is 32 MGNO. So the MGNO is basically what is used for validation, and that makes it compatible with Ethereum. And Gnosis Chain, okay, there's a question in the chat. Oh, sorry, no questions. Gnosis Chain also strives to become accessible for all user types through straightforward user onboarding and developer experience. The onboarding for Gnosis Chain is very easy, very straightforward. Converting your GNO to MGNO and becoming a validator, we have tools that could help you do that with just a few clicks. You don't need to have any advanced knowledge of how the internet work. We provide tools for you that you could go do a few clicks and you've become a validator. So what's the key priorities that Gnosis Chain strives to achieve? One of them is decentralization. Like I said, we want to be the most decentralized chain. We also prioritize validator experience. we have an intuitive validator experience dashboard that you could use to basically become a validator without having to go through a lot of stress. For example, if you're using Ethereum.net, with just a few clicks and in a few minutes, you could become a validator, and everything is set up very easily for you. User onboarding as well is very seamless and accessible. And we have a very robust and growing ecosystem. There are a lot of DAOs and dApps that have already been developed and deployed on the Gnosis Chain. So why should you be interested in all of these things? Why should you want to build on Gnosis Chain? Like I said, decentralization is very key. With about 115 validators, Gnosis Chain is the second most decentralized chain. Accessibility is also very important. Either you're a developer or you're a user, getting started on Gnosis Chain is intuitive, it's affordable, it's easy. Another thing is speed. Transaction time on Gnosis Chain is about 5 seconds, which means you could do lightning fast transactions. It is also cheap. With 0.01x that you'll be able to make hundreds of transactions, and it is stability. Paying for transaction using XDAI, which is basically one-to-one with the US dollar, means that your transaction fees are predictable and they are not subject to market volatility. Okay, so this is the current state of Gnosis Chain. You could see this info on gnosismetrics.com. We have about 27,000 active accounts. In the last 30 days, about 1.6 million transactions have been processed. About 3,000 XDAI have been paid in fees for those 1.6 million transactions. About 115K validators. The total value of USD deposited is about 12 million, and the current yield for validators is about 15.2%. So all of this info can be seen and more if you go to the transaction active accounts, gas and others on gnosismetrics.com. So what was the short summary on why you should consider Gnosis Chain? It is user-friendly. We have a strong ecosystem. We also have a grants program so that your project that you are building, you could apply for grants, and there's an ecosystem that's, and a DAO that works around that and helps to support public good projects. So you could receive support for not just for grant money, you could receive support for marketing, of course, liquidity, you could receive support for networking, and so much more from the Gnosis Builders team. So where do you start from? First thing first, you have to connect your wallet to the chain. You could use the RPC endpoint, the chain ID, and the currency symbol that's displayed. Alternatively, you could just go to chainlist.org and go to the /chain/100 subpart, and your wallet will be automatically configured for you. And again, this is all very easy and intuitive and straightforward. You don't need to have special knowledge or anything to be able to do this. And after you've connected your wallet, like I said, it is 100% EVM compatible. Basically, this means that you could use all of the dApp development tools you use on Ethereum on Gnosis Chain without changing anything. You could take a smart contract or a project built for Ethereum and deploy it on Gnosis Chain without much hassles. In fact, most of the time, you don't have to change anything. You can just deploy one-to-one with the Gnosis Chain. So what this means is all of the tools that are available on Ethereum can also be used on Gnosis Chain easily. Your Remix, your ADAT, your Truffle, whatever tool you use to develop on Ethereum, you could use those same tools on Gnosis Chain. Apart from that, all of the libraries are also 100% compatible. You could use any Open Zeppelin library or any other library that you're familiar with on Gnosis Chain as well. So where are the resources you could get started with? The first place I would recommend to go is gnosis.io. This is the main website. It provides a very quick overview of what Gnosis Chain is. It also provides overview of the grants program and how to get started on that. The next point of call is docs.gnosischain.com. This is the entry point to all documentations for Gnosis Chain for either you're a developer, you're a validator, or you're just reviewing. This is the first point of call. But if you are a developer and just want to start development right away, you could go to the /developers subpack. GnosisWallets.com is also a good resource. Here you could see all the available wallets that are supported on Gnosis Chain, and you could easily click through and select your preferred parameters, and you will get links and documentations and stuff to the wallets that fits your preferred choice. Access to faucet is also very important. So we have gnosisfaucet.com where you can get a small amount of XDAI that you can use to start building immediately and deploy international on the Gnosis Chain. If the XDAI you get from gnosisfaucet.com is not enough, you could also visit buyxdai.com. We have a lot of resources there to show where you can get XDAI easily. Either you want to buy with a credit card, either you want to swap it on chain, or you want to bridge it to the Ethereum Gnosis Chain. We have a lot of resources there for you, and with just a few clicks, you could get started. And if you want GNO, you could just go to the /GNO subpart on buyxdai.com, and you'll be able to get GNO. Finally, we have validategnosis.com. There is also very simple, intuitive interface to guide you if you're interested in becoming a validator on Gnosis Chain. Again, all of these tools are very, very easy to use. You don't need a lot of specialized knowledge to use them. Most of them are just click-throughs, and you get simple, easy to follow guides on how to do these things. So finally, I said we're going to talk briefly about Gnosis Builders. So what is Gnosis Builders? Gnosis Builders is an ecosystem team for Gnosis Chain. We are basically a community that build for Gnosis Chain. You could visit our website to find all of the various tools I'm talking about. And you could use all of these links to get in touch with us as well. We have a developers program in gnosisbuilders.com for developers. We also have a users program. You could check the validators. And if you want to see all of the events and the other community that we support, you could go to the /community subparts. So also you could reach out to us if you have a project you want us to collaborate with you on, or that you want us to support. You could reach us from gnosisbuilders.com as well. And yeah, we're also on Twitter, we're on Discord, we're on Telegram. You could reach us easily on any of these channels. And that is it, folks. Thank you.
Awesome, cheers. Thank you, Olu. Does anybody have any questions? We had a comment that Gnosis Chain is the only EVM chain compatible with Ethereum at the beacon chain level by Ethan.
Yes, thanks, Ethan. Yeah, that is very correct.
Yes, if anybody wants to ask a question, feel free to type in the chat or take yourself off mute. Gavin asked, Gnosis has all same pre-compiles then? Yeah.
Yes. So like I said, it is 100% EVM compatible. You don't need to do anything. Whatever it is that you do on Ethereum, you could just take it one-to-one like that and deploy on Gnosis Chain without doing anything.
Yeah, can you talk about the hackathon rewards?
Okay, I don't know, is Ethan here? Ethan from Gnosis Chain.
I can also try finding stuff from the site in the meantime. Ethan, I can get back to you
Yeah.
to that. The next question was, is the Gnosis safe anyhow related to the Gnosis chain?
Gnosis Save is a wallet that is that you could use to do multi-signature. So it is not related to Gnosis Chain, but it is also a very good resource you could use if you want to do multi-signature wallets.
Okay. And is Gnosis compatible with Polybase?
I'm not sure what Polybase is, so I can't really answer that.
Ceci, I don't know if you want to take yourself off mute and maybe clarify, or you can type in the chat as well. In the meantime, if not, we can move on. Is there a
Yeah,
rocket pool?
I'm not sure exactly.
Sorry, oh yeah. Is there a rocket pool fork already on Gnosis?
None that I know of.
Oh, let's see. It says
So yeah, guys, we have
Yeah.
a second part, if you don't mind, because we have just 10 minutes left. We want to present one more product, and then we continue with questions in the end.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Can I share my screen, or Olu, you have my presentation?
Yeah. No, I just stopped sharing.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, so I want to introduce Hashi. So it's a project by Gnosis Guild, and in the Gnosis ecosystem in general. This is very, very new. So I want to introduce this, guys, to you because there are relevant bounties around that. So yeah, what is Hashi exactly? So Hashi means bridge in Japanese, and we aim here to define a standard for cross-chain communication, with the main difference is that we want to be based on additive security and multiple inputs. We call them oracles. More on that later. At its core, Hashi is a header oracle aggregator, and the ultimate goal here is to basically distribute trust for bridges, but on the security mechanism level. Yeah, if I can use just one phrase to describe that, what Hashi is doing, like, why would you choose just one bridge security mechanism when you can have all of them, right? And next one is why Hashi was created. So in 2022, we had more than 2 billion in hacks because of bridge issues, and on Rec News leaderboards, all the top projects, 4 out of 5 are related to bridges. So what is the summary here is, like, no bridge security mechanism is 100% secure. All designs have trade-offs, right? So a couple of principles around Hashi, the way it was designed. So we want to standardize at the lowest possible level, and this is the block header. It's not like on transaction or on tokens, but it's on the block header level. And the goal here is to diversify this cross-chain communication by different implementations, so different kind of bridges, right? So we assume here that no bridge design can be considered 100% secure. So we will basically check multiple bridges for the result they're giving to validate a specific block header from another blockchain. And of course, when we maximize security over latency, so here the whole design of the system basically makes it slower. But we have enhanced security. So a couple of main components of this system. So imagine we have the applications, right? So applications are a token bridge, a governance bridge, an NFT bridge, any kind of bridge you can imagine. And then we have the block header oracles, which are the actual bridges. So here there can be bridges you already know, for example, Wormhole or the Gnosis Chain A and B, or Hope Protocol or Connect, any bridge basically. And then we have the core contracts, which I'll present right after. The main one is called Hashi, which is the aggregator. Giri and other Japanese. I don't know if I have any Japanese speakers in the audience. This basically is taking care of governance, so which oracles will be added and thresholds and so forth. Then another component is the storage proofs. We need basically a proof on this concept that a specific transaction is included in a specific block header, and this is done, for example, with a project like Axiom. But there are other alternatives we can explore. And then we have the reporter contracts and the relayers, which are basically helper components that will initiate message transfers and listen to events cross-chain. And yeah, I think this is the most important part to understand Hashi. Is an architecture overview. So it might look a bit difficult to describe in a couple of minutes, but I want to focus here. So mainly, let's say we have two chains. Like we have Ethereum mainnet and we have Gnosis Chain. So these are the two main contracts I just mentioned before, the Hashi and the Giri Bashi, and these here are the bridges basically, right? So the examples I mentioned before, you have A and B. This is the Gnosis Omni bridge. Maybe you've heard of it. Wormhole, telepathy, this is a solution by Succinct Labs, ZK bridge, any kind of bridge, right? And then we need to build adapters for all these bridges that feed into Hashi, right? And high level, what is happening here is that we're asking from like on the application level. So here I took as an example a token bridge. We're asking through these helper components here a specific block header from Ethereum mainnet to be transferred by all of these bridges, right? So the AMB will transfer the block header, the Wormhole will transfer the block header, and so forth. And on the other side, Hashi will get the answers from all the bridges and it will compare them. And this is the Kiribati is about the governance. So you can say, okay, if 2 or 3 out of 5 or 5 out of 8, whatever you want to set, agree and give me the same answer, then I can be very, very sure that this is correct. And this connects to what I just mentioned in the beginning, that here we don't trust any one of them 100%. We basically ask all of these bridges to give us the same input. We ask them, give me a block header from the other side. And if one of them is compromised, let's say telepathy or AMB is compromised, and they give a wrong result that is different by the majority, then we know these are compromised, but our system is still intact, right? So that's, I think, the main lesson for Hashi, that we want really to create additive security and aggregate all possible bridges, and to be as secure, as sure as possible that we have the correct result. Yeah, and this part here is what I mentioned before about the storage proofs, right? So this is quite complex. I'll maybe explain a little bit later. Is we need a component here, a contract that basically will check that a specific transaction is included in a specific block header, right? So this will give a block header, and here you have to check, oh, the transaction that I initiated here, is it included in the block header? And then you can say, if it is included, then you can make sure that this actual token bridge transaction on the other side happened, right? And yeah, then that's basically it. The token can be breached. What can you build now with Hashi? So now that goes to the hackathon and connects to many of the prizes we have there. You can write an adapter for another bridge. So similar to the ones I showed. You can write this contract, this Merkle proof, that proves that basically a specific event or a transaction is included in a specific block header. Then you can look at the governance contract we have and improve it in any kind of way. It's kind of, at the moment, it's very, I wouldn't say simple, but it doesn't have a lot of complex use cases yet. And you can also, of course, I mean, this is quite hard at the moment, but you can try and build a end-to-end application that will make, for example, a token transfer super secure by 3, 4, 5 different bridges. And yeah, to help you in that, these are the resources we have so far. So the main one is the repository. You will see there that there already adapters implemented for 3 bridges. You can add more. And if you want to play around with or even interact with the contracts we have already on testnet, these are the addresses. So we have on Girly and Shadow at the moment, which Shadow is the testnet of Gnosis Chain. And yeah, I think I'll stop here, and maybe we can check if there are any questions, because we have 3 minutes left. Yeah, check.
Yeah, there's a good amount of questions. Scrolling back up to the top. Let's see, is there a rocket pool fork already on Gnosis?
Rocket pool. I'm not sure about that. By the way, guys,
No,
for
I
any
don't think so.
questions, you need to you can. I think there should be a channel, Indeed Global.
Yeah, I'll get that link.
And we'll monitor that, because there are different teams, like the Hashi team, for example, the builders, and then we can, if you have, for example, Hashi related questions, I will jump in. For other projects, some other person will jump in.
And what are some cool projects on Gnosis?
Cool.
I think I already responded to that. We have quite a number of projects that are on Gnosis Chain. I could quickly share my screen to show you a slide. So these are some of the projects that we've been able to put together that are on Gnosis Chain. You could see we have DeFi, we have tools and sources, we have infrastructure projects, we have DAOs, NFT games, node providers. So, and this list, I think, is a bit old. I'm sure there are other projects that are coming up as we speak.
Yeah, and sorry, Olu, I just saw that you responded to some of these questions. So just going to the ones that haven't been responded. Manu asked, what are the more important things you were looking for in projects in the hackathon?
I can't really say because, but first thing first, the project needs to be interesting. It needs to solve a particular problem. It needs to there needs to be value, some sort of value that is being added either to the community or to the chain in the project. So yes.
Okay, and wouldn't Hashi be very slow to reach consensus?
Yeah, I was just answering that. So yeah, it depends. So the main point here is that Hash is super modular and configurable. So it depends. If you want to make it super fast, you can use just 2 oracles with some 2 multisig bridges, and that will be super fast. But if you want to make it super secure, what we want to make, for example, for Hashi, ideally one implementation that will combine a lot of ZK light client bridges, right, together with multisig bridges, and that will be slower, but a lot more secure.
Okay, and are the deployed contracts in docs?
Actually, no, because I think we deployed them yesterday, but I think they're not in the repo. But feel free to ask the questions there, and I'll provide you any information you guys need.
Okay. And the ERC 4337 entry point contract is deployed on to Gnosis Chain. Is anyone building out bundler infrastructure for 4337 on Gnosis?
None that I know of.
Okay. I think that's all the questions right now. And yeah, if people have more questions, then I posted the Discord link there and to Gnosis, so I posted again here. Please feel free to reach out to them at any point, and they'll be able to answer. Anybody from the team will be able to answer any other questions that you may have. But if there are no other questions, I'll just say thank the team for the great presentation, and thank you all for being here today. And yeah, have a great rest of the day and happy